Shank Rock is the wave of the future. The diagrams that I have up, where did this go wrong at?
Remember, we didn't know this happened to her.
Okay. But that's in the trial. There's nobody on a jury that's going to watch these tapes. He done did 7 to 8 different interviews and a book where he done bragged, talked about this stuff in details.
Around 3 o'clock that morning, I got random text messages and it was just pictures of her and the other little girl. I thought it was strange.
Now, some of y'all might say, who is Shank Rock? Shank Rock is black media. Well, what is black media? Black media is all about allowing black people to be themselves first. It's not about race. It's not about religion. It's not about politics. It's about doing what's right. It's about holding those that needs to be held accountable to be held accountable. I want to welcome everybody. I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. A grieving mom turned advocate. LaMarvion McKinnon mom sets the record straight, part 2. Now, I'm going to let Mom Dukes just pick up where we left off on part 1 about the crooked cop. Okay, Mom Dukes.
All right. As I was explaining, when they came to my home, where that crooked cop was so intrigued on this drugs that was left in my son's car, when I tried to take it outside of the gloves, he was begging me, please, please do not take it out. And I couldn't understand why. He didn't want me to take it out. He never said why. So I was like, well, okay. I let it be what it would, was. So I told the detective when she sent him outside to go get some packaging, I told her, I want him off my son's case. I said, I don't trust him. Reason why, that was his second strike towards me. The first strike was on the crime scene, where I remember the Caucasian young guy that came, that I said that he's the one that said that 6 NIGGAs came to my son. And he was the one that was actually the one that told my son to come to 3110 Diva Circle, which was in Hope Mills, North Carolina. When they took my son, the morgue came and picked my son up. I remember the officer had parked his car behind my mama's car. When he parked his car behind my mama's car, the young man come from the end of the highway and started walking up with his head down. And I watched him. I was led to watch this young man. He walked with his head down. And as he began to walk, he immediately knew where he was going. He walked straight to the crooked cop's car. And when he walked to his car, the door was open for him to get in. The cop stood afar from where I was. And when he walked to the car, he stopped right in the car. I ran up to him and I looked him in his face and I said, do you know something about my son's being, unalive? He did just like this. I said, do you know who done it? His eyes were so big. And he was like, when he was getting ready to shake his head, yeah, I felt the other cop, the crooked cop, staring at me, mean. And when I looked at him, his mean expression, and he caught himself. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not supposed to do that, am I? And I told him, I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I said, and I told the young man that I was sorry and I walked away. So it didn't dawn on me until after that day when he came to my house and what he did. And then I remember a conversation I had with him at the police department. He said to me, if anything ever happened to any of his relatives, he would want the detective that's on my case to be on his case, is what he said. So, I took these people for what they, as officers that I was thinking they was here to protect and serve and help my family other than victimize my family. So getting back to where I said the detective, she told me from day one, she said, anything that me or my family get, make sure we turn that information in, everything we get. So as we was turning in fast. She tells me it was too much. She said it was too much for her, that, she couldn't, deal with what it was. So on June the 14th, the day I buried my son, they did a 21 shoot, what the military does for the military. And I had mentioned to I mentioned to the soldiers about what happened to my son. And I told them that there was a soldier at the time that I was aware of was involved. And they told me, since he was active duty, to contact CID or CIS, one of the two. I can't remember the name. CID. They told me to contact CID. So what I did, being nice, I told the detective, I said, since you got too much going on, you said it's too much for you. I was informed that you need to contact the CID since this other gentleman is active duty. This lady begged me. She said, please, please, please don't get the military involved. This is what she said to me. Now I'm sitting here like, why? I asked her why. She said, because they will mess up my case. This is what she said to me. And I said, ma'am, but you said it was too much for you. And I said, my son was in the military and this young guy's in the military. But she still told me, begged me. So I trusted her. She gave me this sob story about how her brother was in the jail and how she believed that her brother was unalive in jail, even though they're trying to say he committed suicide. And she gave me she guilt tripped on me, basically. So I was like, I trusted her. And by me trusting her, I wish I wouldn't have never trusted this lady. Because with that being CID, I talked to CID, and what CID them told me, the officer that I've been talking to, he said he has been reaching out to this lady from day one. Now, mind you, June the 4th of this year will be 2 years. He had been reaching out to her, and she have not been responding to him at all. 2 of them officers from there have not heard anything from her. So my question again is, what are they trying to hide? Why are they refusing to talk to valuable witnesses and valuable people that can actually help us do what needs to be done? So with that being, she one of the witnesses that said what they witnessed, and they had contacted me that Saturday. And when they contacted me, I contacted her right away, the detective. This lady, I asked her, I said, why haven't you contacted so-and-so? This person said that they've been reaching out to you. You won't respond to them. They told you why they need to talk to you. You won't respond. She was like, okay, I'll schedule an appointment with the person. Mind you, she waited till Monday to schedule an appointment. That was Saturday. I have a young lady that's part of this crew. This little girl, I'm going to say little girl because she was very rude to me and my family. I almost called her something else. But anyway, this chick had the audacity to tell me that the detective came out to her house. This is how crooked things are happening. She said the detective came out to her house, the detective on the case. Mind you, detective is a female that's on my case, not a male. She said he came to my house, and I'm like, that ain't he ain't no detective, the detective that's on the case. Right. So she telling me, bragging how the detective have been to her house. But mind you, that's crooked. You don't go do no investigation at somebody's house. They supposed to call them in to the police station like they normally do and discuss whatever the matters need to be done. But this young lady swears out that the detective said that they was this lady and she didn't know no better. And she said that they came to her house as well. So again, what I'm trying to get out here is the information that they are refusing to put in the case. I actually have literally talked to the young man's lawyer verbally, face to face, myself. And he enlightened me on some things and I enlightened him on some things. And I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing here. But I'm letting you know, we both agreed that something else is into this. So that's why I'm speaking out, because March the 4th, what today's the 1st, 3 more days, we got a court hearing for a plea deal. And if they get with what they're trying to do, that closes the case. And I'm not looking for them to close the case when I know other people are involved. So now I'm gonna turn it over to y'all.
Okay, now before I get my special guest to come in and introduce himself and build with us, can you just briefly go back over the plea deal and why you're not happy with the plea deal?
Okay, so the ADA, and I'm gonna say his name, Adam Whitaker, that hasn't took time out for my son's case at all. This man told me to my face when he first sought me down about the plea deal. I never talked to this man over the phone until he started discussing about a plea deal. Normally I'm talking to his assistants and they call me in, but this particular time he done called me twice. But this last plea deal, he didn't call me. This one here, he ain't called me about. So when he called me, he told me that they were looking to do a plea deal, but see, he blindsided us. Let me back that up. I turned in all this evidence that's in my book, just in case the detective didn't turn it in. I turned it all into them and told them, y'all need to look at this again. The detective had this. I don't understand why y'all not using this, why y'all not using these witnesses, so forth, right? Still, he tells me, we don't want nothing you have. This is what this man told me. They didn't want nothing I had that came out my son's phone, that they weren't going to use it. They tried to accuse me of dampering my son's case because when my son was first unalive, he was in a conflict with someone in Robertson County. Had nothing to do with this case. He was in a conflict, but as a mother or anybody, if you didn't know who unalived your child and that was the only information that was given to you at first, of course I'm going to tell them that my son was in a conflict with somebody else before we found out it was people out of Cumberland County. So once I told him about the video, I told him that the ABC store said they had to get it within a certain amount of time or it'd be discarded. So that crooked cop on June the 7th, the same day I went to pick my son's car up, he went and got the information. Mind you, for the discovery, whatever the detective did and turned in, that goes what she turned in, right? She pick and choose to me what she gonna put in there, right? So why am I blamed? The ADA blamed me, saying because I turned the video in, and like I told him to his face, I didn't turn nothing in. I just told y'all that there was a video out there that you need to go get it, but he still blamed me. That was first let me know that he hadn't took time to look at my son's case. He tried to tell me that it was done at the ABC store in Fayetteville. That's another thing that lets me know that he wasn't looking at my son's stuff. So I had to tell him to his face that was not in Cumberland County, that was in Robertson County. So he had to look again, and his assistant had to let him know that that was 2 different places, right? So getting back to why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, the ADA, I have been told that he is begging for this plea deal. The ADA, mind you, the ADA is supposed to be working for us. He is begging that they do this plea deal. Why are you begging for a plea deal when you told us, when I sent all that information in, they had another private investigator of their own to look at it from what I was told. He told them, it looks like good to go. We can go to trial with this or whatever. This is what he told his assistant to tell me 1 week. No, matter of fact, the same week. Told her to tell me we was going to go to trial. They was getting ready to send what they had to send out to the witnesses and all that. Couple days after, I get a call from him telling me it's a plea deal. And you need to come into the office on such and such day because we have agreed for a plea deal. So I goes in there, this ninja tells me that he wants to drop it from 1st degree to 2nd degree. And he wants to give it 12 years. This young man is locked up 12 years. And I said, you mean to tell me you want to give him, my son was shot 10 times. He had 12 holes, which 2 of them was an exit wound. And I looked him in his face and I said, you mean to tell me that you're going to give him a year for every hole that he had put in my son's body, is what you're saying to me. I said, I don't agree to no plea deal. Because if y'all go back and see WRAL, when I did the ABC thing, I begged and pleaded for them to turn themselves in. I even told them I forgive them, which I still do. I begged and pleaded, please turn yourself in so you know, it'll be easy on you. I forgive you. Lord have mercy on you. I said all of that. But when after everything happened and they started showing me who they were on social media, when my family, you know, the media will post things about my son and my family will comment and I comment, these thugs and they family, the boy's mama and his stepdaddy, that ain't been to the court since then. I ain't even seen him in court. They trying to make this boy look like a good citizen, where they got his daddy, his biological daddy, showing up in court now with his mama. So this is the thing. They talked all this junk on social media, telling me how my son was shot in his face. One of them had the audacity to tell me how my son was shot in his face before I even knew that my son was shot in his face. Getting back to the casing that was found in my son's car, they didn't even tell me that my son was shot with a 9mm. The detective did not tell me. How I found out that my son was shot with a 9mm, one, the bullet casing in the car, two, the autopsy told me that they only found 9 on the crime scene. They only found 9 of the cases. So you know the 10th one was in the car. That's why she was begging me, pleading, please bring it to her. Right. So again, the ADA hadn't took out time to do nothing when it came to studying my son's case. That's why he's trying to rush it. Even his attorney, like, you showing me all of this. I showed him the video. I mean, I showed him the video of them coming out to meet, out of the group, because they had couple car meet groups. They had one that was called 910 Takeover. That was the one that the gentleman that's locked up put my son in. They had a chat with your cell phone messages. They added my son there. And one of the messages, they told my son, show me what your car looks like. Mind you, if you was on the last live that we just did, my son originally had a Kia. So they didn't know him by his Kia, because they knew him by his Kia, but they didn't know him by his Kia because he had a new car. So that's why I put that together, why they asked him to show what his car looked like. And I just hated that my son did it, but he did it. He did it. So with that being, that's a setup. I know they socked my youngin' up. They can't tell me, even down to the Caucasian boy that pretend to be my son's friend. He told my son, he said, the ops are out here. He said, I'm getting ready to slide. I don't know what slide meant. I thought he meant he was leaving, but I had some young people told me that means he was getting ready to do something to somebody. I don't know, but that's what I got in the text message that he sent my son, as my son was traveling from Robinson County, 100 and some miles away. 100 and some miles he was going to get to Fayetteville. And from my understanding, he was trying to get there to help this young man, because that's the type of son that I had. My son, when it comes to his friends, he are down for his friends and he down for his family. And he's trying to make sure that he's there to help you, right? But the little young man sought him up. He sought him up because he even said that my son gave him his AR and he put his AR in my son's car. This is what the young man said. And my son was getting ready to fist fight the 2 military soldiers, not the one that's locked up, 2 military soldiers. So again, we in court, the ADA is trying to get the bail bond. When they was trying to do the bond hearing, he told them to give the young man $150,000 bond and give him house arrest. How you gonna give him house arrest when he was a risk, where he was a flight risk, where he ran 3 months and they couldn't find him? And the whole while he was under their nose, right here in Cumberland County. He left out of town and he come back. Then he gets rid of the weapon. So how y'all gonna let him do this? So if I wouldn't have talked to the judge with the victim impact, the judge ended up raising it $750,000. So that was a win for us and a blessing. But you know what his family came back and did on social media and said, we still gonna get him out. They talk trash to me. They talk trash. That mama, I'm gonna say mammy, that mama of his, I don't have no sympathy for her son anymore. The ADA said to me, the reason why they doing a plea deal, he said, I guess the young man had some type of remorse or something like that. This is what he said to my face. Then he lied and changed it and said he didn't say it after I asked him again. I said, so you trying to say you want to give him 12 years and second degree because he has some type of remorse? I said, did you not forget when we went to the courthouse for his bail bond hearing? He walked in there like it was a party, laughing with his family, and his family in there laughing. Did you not forget when I was doing the victim impact, his mama them sitting in there laughing at me? When I talked about God and when I talked about how my son was, and they sat there laughing? Did you not forget that they act like it was a party? Did you not forget that I showed you the video where the young man is in jail when he thought he was getting out the first time, his first bail bond hearing? He's in jail where they on Instagram recording him, throwing up his gang signs, made a rap song about how he was getting ready to get out. They told him either life or something else he said on the rap song. But he's laughing and like it's a party. What kind of remorse did you have? You got remorse because you think that you're gonna have to stay in jail? Is that the remorse now that you're feeling remorseful because they didn't get the money to get you out like they promised? That's what I'm not getting. But yet and still, the ADA that's supposed to be working on my family's behalf is working on the young man's behalf. And he's from Fayetteville also, so that's a conflict of interest for me too. Just like I told him that it's a conflict of interest for the attorney that's representing this young man because he's representing my nephew. So that's a conflict of interest. And it's a conflict of interest because I told this attorney, which is his attorney, when it first happened to my son, I told his secretary I wanted them to assist me. But instead of her telling me, ma'am, we don't assist the victims, we assist the murderers. She didn't tell me that. I talked to them multiple times and I told him to his face, it's a conflict of interest. Last week, I told the attorney myself to his face, and he took down names and he understood what I was saying. Understood every word I said, but why can't the ADA them understand that? Why didn't the detective them understand that? I don't understand. So now I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead, y'all.
Let me let my special guest slide in, introduce yourself, and talk to us about what you know about the case, young man.
Okay. My name is Vincent Sinclair. I'm a 35-year retired law enforcement officer. I founded out as a detective for Robertson County Sheriff's Department. I was notified about the case, and pretty much everything she just stated, she told me about. In fact, I went to her house and looked at some things that she had found. I've never seen an investigation done so sloppy, so messy. I've never seen that. I've never seen the point where you have witnesses. Now, there's nothing wrong with going in the field because sometimes you have to go out in the field. But when you have something of this nature, it's best to get someone out of their environment when you interview them because it's a different setting. The difference between a interview when you're interviewing someone, which would have been what that was when witnesses talk and you take statements. As far as the charges, I want to say that the detective, although she did a sloppy case, she charged the right charge. A case is only as good as the investigator that's handing it over to your prosecution. So sometimes officers are very sloppy, and prosecutors try to do the best they can do with it to make the case look like it's as strong as it is. If it is not, then they usually try to come up with some type of plea deal, but usually on the other side, the defense is actually coming in and asking for a plea deal. Very rarely have I ever heard of a prosecutor going to the defendant and offering a plea. And when it looks like that, to me, it looks like trying to clear the docket. Cumberland County has a lot, and you all know as well as I know, there's two justice systems, two standards when it comes to Black, Indian, white, and Hispanics. We know that. I've seen it. I've seen it time and time again. I've seen people that should have went to prison that didn't go to prison. I've seen prison people that shouldn't have went to prison went to prison. So, and some didn't even get a time at all. So I've seen that. But in this particular case, the words that she used when she said the reason why that she was going for second degree and not first degree, she was looking at the premeditation, the malice, and deliberation. Well, under the felony murder rule of North Carolina, you can actually commit first degree murder without any of that. They have something called perpetration. And in the perpetration extends beyond all three. In other words, from what I was told, that her son was shot 5 times. And then he walked over, stood over him, and shot another 5 times. So this goes beyond the scope of premeditation. It's perpetration. Okay? That's an execution. That is an assurance that that person is deceased. Why there is second degree, it's either something, I know something's not right about it. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's a relative within the DA's office, it's a relative within the sheriff's department. The sheriff was very belligerent. He did not, we was on a three-way. My cousin was also law enforcement chief, and we was trying to help her all we could, and we did a conference because neither one of us could be there. So we did a conference. I guess the sheriff found he felt like that we were trying to corner him or something, and he got very belligerent, put her out of his office, and told her she was banned from a public building. How can you be banned from a public building when people pay your salaries? That's a public building. He doesn't even own the building. And but when the detective won't talk to me. The detective is not going to talk to. I mean, the ADA is not going to talk to me. In fact, the ADA informed her that she don't even have to talk to Miss Gilchrist. You don't even have to talk to her because he looked at her as that she's not a victim. Well, from what I know of 35 years of law enforcement, the court does not forgive, God does. So when a person goes out and commit a heinous crime, especially like taking the life of another, he's supposed to get what he's got coming. And in this case right here, there is so much. I'm gonna tell you, this young lady right here, I would not want to have her on my trail. This woman has done an investigative work that she should have a badge. That's no joke. She has went.
Oh,
She
that
has
look
went
bad.
through. She has went through phones. She has found addresses. She has found evidence. She has found witnesses. She has done everything that a grieving mother would do that lost a child. And for law enforcement or the ADA not to have any empathy for that, I really, I can understand you explaining why you're doing what you're doing. But you need to explain that because that has not been explained, not according to what the evidence presents. The officer charged first degree, it should have went to trial. Is there a reason why come they don't want to go to trial with this? Now, from what I understand, if it's true that he admitted to the crime, so in order for him to even take a plea, he would have to admit to the crime. So if he admitted to first degree, why are you offering second degree? Now we know vouchers will be given if he go to trial. Vouchers will be given for his attorney unless he's privately hired. Prosecutor is going to make the same amount of money because number one is they paid to do it, whether they have go to trial or not. They're going to get the same deal. The only thing is I can't understand why someone that the evidence is so plain, and we just heard her say that the private investigator that went out and said it's open and shut case. So why are we going for second degree murder? I don't understand it. Now the North Carolina felony murder rule, it states exactly what it is. It said a North Carolina law ordering someone to shoot another 5 times and then ensure death, shooting the victim an additional 5 times, strongly supports first degree murder. Strongly supports it. So I can't see how and why. I haven't been to college, but I'm strongly in law. And not only do I just look at the elements, I go into the footnotes, and then I go into case law. and then I compare it. And this is first degree murder all day long. I gave her the wording. I wrote it down for her. She has done her studies. And I said, you keep these words in your mouth when you're talking to someone. Deliberate intent to ensure.
Mm.
A deliberate intent to ensure. It wasn't just shot 5 times. He walked over and stood over and shot him another 5 times. So, what I understand, there was 10 interests, and 2 out of the 10 were exits. So that's how you get the 12. But I'm trying to put it together. I can't. I had her to do petitions. I had her to anybody of any importance there in Cumberland County to get it to them, to make sure that the ADA and the chief district attorney has been made aware that people have attention toward this matter. And I think that she's done a very good job. Whatever the outcome is going to be, it will not be because she failed, because she did everything she possibly could do.
Right.
Instead of North Carolina law, ordering someone to shoot another 5 times and then ensure death. Shooting the victim an additional 5 times.
Sorry about that. I got people that can't get on the
Right.
links
Yeah.
and no, what's they so I got it playing on my TV so they can go
Okay.
live on it right there.
Right.
But I'm strongly involved.
Okay. Under the felony murder rule, 14-17, it states in North Carolina, if someone is killed during the commission of attempted commission of a certain felony involving a deadly weapon, the offense may be charged as first degree, what is commonly called the felony murder rule. Under this rule of doctrine, a homicide arising from perpetration, that's the word, that's the key word, perpetration, or an attempted perpetration of each felony is treated the first degree, even if absent of premeditation.
Mm.
Where 2 out of the 10.
So premeditation don't have to be there. His act and his intent
Right.
of what he was accomplished, and he done that.
And
He
so
done that.
the 5 shots with him standing over top of him.
They're in Cumberland County.
That completed the deal. That completed first degree. If he shot 5 times and stopped and not walked over, that'd been second degree. Because he shot 5 and he went over to assure that he was deceased. That's perpetration. What it does is it brings deliberation and malice and premeditation all into one. It can happen in a split second. All into one. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to lie and wait. You don't have to do any of that. If you did it and you assured that the person was not alive according to what he done, then he completed the mission. He completed the mission. I just read the law to you, and there's no way around it.
Under felony murder rule.
Right. Like you said, you don't need a degree. I mean, come on.
No, you don't.
You might have to turn that down some because that audio is it's picking up.
Yeah. Right. Turn it down some more. I can still hear it pretty loud. Yeah, but man, I wish I could give her more help onto the inside of the case.
Right.
And they're not going to talk to me. Period. They're not going to talk to me. The witnesses I asked, matter of fact, the detective won't even talk to her. She just had a visit with the sheriff, the new sheriff they have over there, and he was kind of astounded that the stuff that she told him about the previous sheriff and the detective. So everybody want to be nice and sweet and all this kind of stuff, and he's supposed to be getting into the bottom of it. He's supposed to be getting into the bottom of it, but he didn't promise her anything.
Right.
He didn't promise her anything. So once something gets over to the ADA, and one thing about ADAs, anyone that went to school for law, the easiest job for them to get is at the prosecution's office because it's a training ground. That's a training ground. A lot of them come in there and they're staying there a while and they branch off and go into their own because they get to practice law right there with real in real time with real people. So don't expect every ADA to be knowledgeable in the law. That's the reason why come they sit around at a round table and they make these decisions. And then when he makes that decision, it comes from the upper. It wasn't his own. It came from the upper. And in this case right here, what they're trying to do is clean the docket. If they're not clean the docket, then there's something else to hide. Somebody's a relative, somebody's kin, somebody trying to help somebody out.
So the judge has the final say so.
Well, no, he does. The judge has the final say so, but this is one thing. Anytime there's a plea deal, the plea deal is agreement between the state and the defendant. And a judge stays a neutral person in that. He's like a referee. So he will ask this person, do you agree? Have you been coerced in any type of way or threatened to take this plea? And then he'll say, no, he'll ask him to sign a waiver. So once he signs that waiver and that plea agreement is signed, then it's a deal. If the judge feels like he don't have to accept it, he can reject it. If the judge feels like, nah, he don't need to be offered a plea on this right here, such, no. Y'all can go back to the drawing table and y'all can come up with something else. He'll give him another chance. But if he feel like, you know, he agrees to it, prosecutor agrees to it, we all want to clear the docket, boom, he agreed to it. Next thing he goes in there, he goes back for sentencing, it's over with. And the thing is, the thing is, she don't have any say. That's the whole point. She's a victim, but she's not a victim. You see what I'm saying? So I think in this right here, I think if it get enough attention from the right people to the right people, then this thing right here will go back and it be a rethought process. You see what I'm saying? Because there's no way in the world that several people say they seen what happened. And next thing is this right here. The gentleman that he had the confrontation with was not the gentleman that shot him. So anytime someone tells someone else to do something and they act on their authority, that's a conspiracy. In a conspiracy, it only takes two or more in agreement to commit a crime. So therefore, whether they're military or not, they committed a crime. So now I can understand why CID couldn't be left out of it, period. If he's military, they can't be left out of it. They have to be notified. In Cumberland County, if a soldier gets arrested for a DWI, they're not going to put him in their jail. They're going to hold him. And someone from Fort Bragg is going to come and get him and take him back to their jail. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? I think there was a case here, probably been about 10 years ago, where gentleman military had went to trial and beat a case, right? He had like 30 days left after that trial to re-enlist in the military. When he re-enlisted in the military got him and they charged him with a different charge that was equal time. So it couldn't be double jeopardy because they never charged him.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And he beat the case. So, you know, but they got him and took him on. He became property of the government when he re-enlisted, and they did their job. But I've never seen an officer tell someone, especially when the guy's in the military, they have no choice but to get them involved. How can you say not to? They have no choice. That's just like one department gets another officer from another city or another town and gets a DWI. You think he's not supposed to contact that other department, let them know what happened?
Right.
He's supposed to do that.
That's right.
I don't understand what's going on here. I know it's very sloppy. I know it's not the way you investigate a case. I never investigated a case like that. And there's been plenty of things that run across my desk. If 85% of it's going to be crap anyway. Right? But you have to work it through. You have to work it through, and you don't find out it's crap until you get to the end. But if you work it thorough and you do it the way it's supposed to be, even though you put that time in there, guess what? You did it right. And you don't leave a prosecutor trying to piece this together and piece that together, trying to make a case, if there is one. But in this case right here, somebody's hiding something, and I just feel it, and I don't know why.
Now you spoke on getting it to the right people or the right person, or who would you, or could
Well,
you?
well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, I asked about the SBI, State Bureau of Investigations. The State Bureau of Investigation, generally they don't get involved in something unless they're invited. Pretty much just like the FBI. They get invited, they'll come in. Um, we have often had cases that was too big for us to handle. It was just too much, and we didn't have the resources. And we will call the State Bureau of Investigation. They will come in, might bring 10 or 15 people, and they go ahead and knock it out right quick. But when it comes down to Cumberland County, I want to say Cumberland County is a very special place. The things that happen in Cumberland County are training grounds for other counties, because when something happens over there and they find out about it, they'll make a policy over here, don't do what they did over there. You see what I'm saying? So for her to get it out there, I was hoping that petitions were going to do something. I think she could contact the governor's office. Um, and next thing will be, if we can't get anything from the SBI or the FBI, will be the DOJ, Attorney General.
Can
But
I say something?
I was hoping that the publicity behind the petitions were get the talk going. But she can't even get a meeting with the chief district attorney. That's the whole
Okay.
point.
Come on, Mom Dukes.
Now with the SBI, I went last week. I called the SBI, and whoever answered the phone tried to play me. Made it look like as if there was no. Let me back it up. When I called the sheriff office, when I called, I thought it was the SBI office. Somebody tried to play me and tell me that the SBI office wasn't local, that I would have to contact the SBI 1-800 number, whatever, right? So when I called it, because I knew someone told me that they were local, I contacted the SBI. The person I talked to, the gentleman, some people just be a little too nosy, that try not to get you to where you need to get to. So I had to kind of play him a little bit. And I told him, I said, I need the address to the SBI. And he was telling me that I would have to tell him, pretty much what's going on and whatever. So I said, sir, I just need the address, and, you can transfer me to whoever after the fact. He gave me the address right here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. The
Old
address
Fairgrounds.
to the SBI right here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's actually hidden in with some other buildings back there where I went to. So I
Well, it's
went there.
not.
Matter of fact, hold on 1 minute. Let me 414 Chicago Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina. The reason why I'm saying
That's
that,
it.
because there's a lot of other family members, people that's dealing with some that I got going on, that they may need to contact these people too. But the address is 414 Chicago Drive, Fayetteville. I went there at 1 p.m. on February the 27th. And when I went there, I spoke to a gentleman that told me who did I need to speak with. And I told him I didn't really know, but I told him, what was going to take place about my son was murdered, so forth. And he sent two ladies out, two special agents came out. And one of them, she was very intrigued in what I had to say. The other one, as I'm talking, she text messaging, like constantly text messaging, made me think she might have was contacting the detective or whoever else while we was talking. She was pretty much not interested in what I had to say, and she was mad, mean mugging me too. Finally, when I got to showing the pictures and all that stuff, like I showed some of this to you guys, this one particular special agent had the audacity to ask me, can you just tell me, what is it that you want from us? This is what this lady said to me. And I looked at her and I said, ma'am, can I have your name? Because at this point, I need to make sure I have everybody's name that I'm talking to. May I have your name? She hesitated to give me her name. She wouldn't give me her name at first. So I explained to her again why I was there. I said, because I done went through all the chain of command that I was told to go to. I have been denied by the head DA, Billy West, to speak to him. And from what I was told, to come to you guys, that y'all could probably help me take my son's case out of the out of the DA's office. She said that's not something we can do, just like Vincent explained, it has to be given to them. Now, mind you, early on, when it first happened, I contacted the SBI, the FBI. I contacted all these people when it first happened, because at that time they hadn't apprehended anyone. So this day, I'm talking to this lady, and she said that to me. And I'm noticing still as I'm talking, after I got finished telling her why, she's still texting somebody. Everything I say, it was like she was texting somebody. So the other lady, you know, I could tell she was kind of more intrigued, and she had a smile on her face, like, you know, to me, let me know that, Mom, I can't say what I want to say, but I'm proud. That's how I felt with her. But I asked her, what was her name? She gave me her name, the nicer one. Then the other one finally gave me her name. You know, I had to have her to spell hers because it's kind of funny, but I have been to the SBI. I have sent information over to the NCDOJ, however you say it. When I sent the petition and information over to them, they tell me that it's only certain things that they operate in that they can't do. Certain things that they can do, and what is it? The Attorney General. I sent information over there, and the secretary told me just what he does and what he don't do, you know, and they let me know that it wasn't nothing he can do here. So at the end of the day, the SBI says either the sheriff office has to give it to them, which I'm hoping that Sheriff Morgan, since he got everything that I told him, may decide to turn this over. It's left up to him, or it's left up to the head DA. But I do have an important meeting coming up tomorrow that I will be talking to someone that's connected to the head DA. So we shall see what may take place then. But I had to come here today because I'm not going to keep waiting and let it go to, because you only have so many years that you can do something before it goes into something. I don't know the terminology, but I have heard this, and I don't want to be like my friend where they took 3 years with her brother, which I'll be hearing her talk on here soon too. It took 3 years for them to say that her brother was shot in the back, mind you, no weapon, and he won't even in the conflict with. Come to find out, this is another military soldier that unalived him. Another military soldier that they making him look like he's a great citizen, and he walked away. This gentleman, 3 years, and do you not know what they told me? What a resource told me? They told me that this case was one of the hardest cases that they had to deal with, that people have quit their jobs because they know it was wrong. So I told my friend this the other day. I told her, baby, listen, I just got some information that they quit their jobs because they knew what happened to your brother was not right, that they allowed this boy to get by with unaliving your brother. So that's why I say I will not allow them to do the same thing to my baby. Look, yes, he's going to always be my baby.
Let me just slide in. Mr. Vincent, what is going, and you probably said it, but what is going on here? Like, is the cries not big enough?
It's a simuline. It's a simuline. It's a simuline. It shows the separation between the two standards of justice. I hate to say it that way, but that's what it is. It's black on black crime. If they can shovel this, get rid of it, that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. The only thing is that makes it hard for them is the mother has a mouthpiece. She hasn't stopped. And they don't like that. They don't like people that's got a mouthpiece. They want you to keep quiet. You know, keep quiet and let him do this. Why he came out and told her you're not a victim. Now the ADA told her she's not a victim. If he has a child, then he know that she's a victim. That was her child. I can imagine somebody just not having any empathy for a loss of life. I don't understand that.
Right.
But yet still you want to work a deal
Right.
with the perp or the defendant, and then you want to say, justice served.
It's
Open and
different.
shut case.
Now I was just gonna say it's different penalties for when animals get killed. It's
And brother, you said a mouthful there. Um, I once had a case where there was 103 counts of animal cruelty. A mother was selling exotic animals in Lumberton. She was an alcoholic. Husband was a truck driver. The vet is what turned her in. The vet was making all kind of money off of her. Well, she stopped going to the vet, so the vet decided to go and take a trip out there. And he went out there and he see dead animals, and the animals were like they were starving. And this used to be a place where kids can go and work during the summer, and earn a little money. Where her son took upon himself to bury birds head down in the ground, set dogs and monkeys on fire. Matter of fact, I rehab one of the dogs. I got one of the dogs and Bull Massett, and I wound up getting rid of him. He's just too big. But at that time, it was a misdemeanor. But the people from animal cruelty came down, television in the courtroom, people all from California and everywhere for those animals. For those animals, the TV was there for those animals.
Yeah.
They allowed the cameras to come in the courtroom because those animals. That lady got 30 days on 103 counts of animal cruelty, which was a misdemeanor. Now it's a felony now, but it got changed after that case. Got changed to being a felony. So yes, they care more about animals than they do human beings, especially people of color. So I feel that if it would have been the opposite, black on white crime, you know, it would have been different. This case is totally a first degree. It's totally a first degree, and there's no way around it. Especially with the witnesses and all that, it's definitely first degree. And the soldier should be charged as well because that's a conspiracy. That's a conspiracy. He acted in agreement to do that. Not only that, aiding and abetting. And so, there's several things that it's not right with this case. And the matter of fact, the ADA says, "Oh, the officer that you're talking to, he knows what you got to have." Yeah, I do know what you got to have. You're right. I know what you got to have. I know what you're not including. I know that. I know what you're not. Because if you take the perpetration, you put the perpetration there, all the mother three wraps up all in one. You don't have to have those elements. So you got this one that they all wrapped up in one circle, one bunch. So,
Come on, Mom Dukes.
He brought some things in my brain. When you said the aiding and abetting, right? When the witness, the person that called in for the tip to tell us where the gentleman that's locked up now was, right?
Okay.
He was we had a call. Remember, Vint, the call we got first, you got the call where they said the marshals was there.
That's when I talked to the marshal.
You had talked to the marshals, right?
Okay.
And then I get a phone call from a patrol sergeant, not from the sheriff's office, but from the Fayetteville
City
Police Department.
Because of jurisdictions.
He tells me to send him the picture of the house and the address. He told me not to let the sheriff know or the detective, the sheriff office or the detective know that they were out there. And I did everything he said. I don't know why he said it. But later on, when the young man was captured, He was captured the next day, not the same day. Now, mind you, they also said, do not go out here, but I was out there and I left, but I didn't go the way that the house was. So the witness kept, the tip kept saying, please, I got somebody out there watching, please, he's out there, him and his girlfriend riding around. Then they standing on the porch at the mama's house, the girlfriend's mama's house. Please tell them to hurry up, hurry up. My thing is, if they out there, why don't y'all see what this tip person is telling me? How do y'all not see that? Then the next day they capture him. I get a phone call from the detective telling me that he has been captured, right? So I'm, thanking God that he was captured. But my question to her was, where did y'all capture him at? Because the tip that called in wants the tip money.
Right.
She tells me she don't know nothing about giving no tip money. Basically, they won't give him the person the tip money. And she also stated that she couldn't disclose that information to me. When I found out where the young man was captured was when we went to the bond hearing. The ADA stood up, told the judge, when the judge asked where was he captured at, he said he was at his mother's house when they captured him. Now, mind you, the mother was asking on social media for prayers for her son when he got locked up. The mother was aware that they was looking for her son. My question is, why isn't the mother locked up for aiding and abetting? Why ain't the girlfriend locked up? And I sent pictures of him and the girlfriend on Instagram together. What he looks like now, what he looked like when they captured him, because he looks like himself now. They put a picture out of what he looked like a clean citizen when they had it out there. So I had to do some digging and put some pictures of what these guys looked like that they was looking for, like they look like now. Oh, they hated that. I had all of them, what they looked like. But the only one I didn't have what they looked like was the one that's locked up now. When he got locked up, he looked like he was old by age. That's what he looked like. Well, but the thing about that, I didn't get why the mother's not locked up. The girlfriend's not locked up. The young lady that drove him to the 3110 Diva Circle with the white car, then drove him off 3110 Diva Circle. And the witness stated she watched him throw the gun out the window. But she's not locked up either. Well, and the witness told the detective all of this.
Well, first of all, when it comes down to being able to charge somebody with aiding and abetting, that's something you're going to have to be proven. But that wouldn't be aiding and abetting as far as that's concerned, unless they came there with a warrant and they said he wasn't in the house and they knew he was in there and they went in with a warrant and then they found him. Then they'd be charged with harboring the future and possibly charged with aiding and abetting. Aiding and abetting is a lesser charge. So then harboring in the future. So that's one thing. The next thing is unless they catch them in the act with that person, like trying to get him out of town or something like that, then it'd be hard to charge somebody with that.
But I see other people being charged.
Yeah, like but there's more too.
Like the little boy that was murdered after my son was murdered. They charged the girl that was driving the people. They charged her. They charged other people. They pick and choose who they want to charge up here in Cumberland County. I don't care when it comes to how they want to use the technology for the criminal system. They pick and choose who they want to help. I guess they helping her because she worked with them when it came to their judicial system, the mother of that child. But I'm speaking about my child. Now, if it's good for her to be charged, when she spoke up about the girl needed to be charged, it's good enough for these people to be charged too for my son. Cumberland County, if they want to use one law for another crime because he was younger than my son, but they out here trying to make my son look like he's such a bad person. What child do you not know that was in the military, or an adult that's in the military that don't carry guns? What child now that you don't know that carry guns? Because these kids are scared. They're walking around here scared because they don't want to be the next person unalived. And that was another reason why my youngin kept his gun, because of that. But as I told the ADA, If my son was out there to cause harm, then all of them will probably be gone because the type of gun that he had. But he gave his gun up to fist fight. And that's the part that they got to understand. He trusted the military brothers. Remember, we're a brotherhood. He trusted them. He didn't know that this civilian was going to come and unalive him. He didn't understand that part. He understood that the military soldiers, my brothers, we're going to fist fight. That's the part that I'm trying to make everybody understand. How does a fist fight into a gunfight? By one military soldier telling a civilian to pop that NIGGA. And the civilian decides, okay, let me do what he said.
Well, isn't it been some talk that was gang activity?
The actual civilian was part of gang. The talk was on the okay, let me get it right. There was a couple groups. One was with the 5SK group, where it was the original car meet group. The original car meet group was civilians. You had military soldiers. Somehow or another, gang members got connected. How I know, because I was reading the stuff that the people were saying on the messages when some of them was so angry. How did y'all let these gang members get into this group? Some of them, I got proof in writing. They couldn't understand. Y'all let these gang bangers get in this group. And then some on the 910 takeover, the 910 takeover group was the actual gang group that they added my son to. Now, my son was added on June the 3rd. I would think it was like 3 o'clock that afternoon. Mind you, on the 910 takeover, my son didn't even comment on that one. It's like he didn't even know he existed in that one. He existed in the other one because I seen where he commented on that one. Then the phone group that they added him in. There was a lot of them that was connected to the phone group, which was some of those 6 NIGGAs that walked up on my son. And one of them NIGGAs was one of them that lived in the neighborhood back there. Mind you, when we was on the crime scene, one of those dudes was out there the whole while. You know how? Because in the group chat, they was telling my daughter, we see you out there. You better not say AJ Tedder is what they said. You better not say nothing about AJ Tedder. And who AJ Tedder is the one that orchestrates the car meet-ups. And the Murchison guy, they orchestrate that. And they told her she better not say nothing about AJ Tedder. Mind you, when we say an officer may be involved, on AJ Tedder's page, he has an officer as an uncle, if I'm not mistaken. But he was cleared. He was cleared when they got him in. Everybody ratted on Malik. Everybody, even down to the girlfriend. Everybody. So let's go back to that again. In that group that they added my son, the only reason why my son was part of the car group, the original one, his goal was to do YouTube. He liked doing YouTube. And he thought that was a way to get money because he was expecting his baby next month. He saw the other guys out there videoing, doing YouTubes. How I know, because he told one of the family members. That's why he added a family member to the group. And if the family member was not added to that group, we won't know half of what we know now.
Well, wasn't there a robbery as well?
Oh, yes. I forgot about that. Yes, they robbed my son too. He is what they're saying. They got him listed as he robbed my son and unalived my son. But the thing that I can't get, you shot him, overkilled him. You killed him execution style. Shot him here, 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 back of his head, all over his body. 10 total holes. This is execution style, not no original shooting. If it was original shooting, yes, I can see some of what they're saying. But this wasn't original. You shot him in his face to make sure that you shut his mouth. You made sure whatever he knew, that he could not say nothing about what he knew. Then some of them little NIGGAs was on my Facebook group saying he shouldn't have repped something that he won't. Mind you, my son hung out with everybody. He wasn't part of no gang. He hung out with everybody because he didn't see nobody different. He didn't see them different. He just hung out with who he hung out with because that's how I guess raised my kid. And Lord, forgive me for doing that. We love everybody. And that's what my son did. And from what the talk was, from what I had one witness say, my son spoke on 2 gangs that was out there. He couldn't understand why both of them was against each other. And I guess by him speaking, they didn't like what he said. Even one of the young girls said to me, the little hussy had audacity to say to me, you should have taught your son how to speak when being spoken to. That's what she said to me, had the audacity to say to me on social media. She came in my inbox and said that. I should have taught my son to speak when to be spoken to, like she's his God. And I let her know, you ain't a God, sister. You ain't a God to tell me nothing or tell my youngin' anything. And on top of that, they had, like I said, my youngin' was sawed up. They can't tell me no difference. When they called him from Lumberton, the girl that he was messing with, and he told her he didn't want to deal with her no more because he wanted to do right by his baby mama. She called him. The boy called him. Let me show you. She called the boy, the Caucasian boy called right here. Right here, let me tell you. It says he called. It started at 11 p.m. June the 3rd, 11 p.m. He called. The girl a call. He called. The girl a call. He called. The girl a call. It was a minute.
What is the time?
6 minutes. Huh?
What was the time on the calls? On the list?
First
What
call,
was the time?
11 o'clock, 11:10, 11:21, 11:33, 11:59, 12:01, 12:02, 12:10, 12:22, 12:29, 12:32, 12:33, 12:34, 12:51. Then one call at 12:58 was somebody else. Then at 1:09, 1:20, 1:21, 1:22, 1:28, 1:55, 2:10. Now, mind you, my son was considered deceased at 1:38, if I be exact. He still had calls. Well, I'm sorry. Let me back it up. 2:10 and 1:55 was his best friend. He had to call to make sure the call that came to him was true. Now, anything.
Has there been any mention of the weapon that your son had that was inside the car? What happened yet? They were able to tell you where that went? I noticed you said that the guy threw the gun. He threw the weapon. He threw his weapon out the window. Don't know if he went back and got it. Don't know if somebody else went and got it, or if they looked for it or not. But my point is, the weapon that belonged to your son was inside the car, correct?
It was in the car, and they went in the car and they stole it. But this is the thing. I have a picture of the young man and his girlfriend with a gun look just like my son's.
Well,
just like my son. Mind you, the 9mm that my son was unalive with, which belonged to the soldier, the active duty soldier. You know how Instagram, if the bubbles on there, you can take them off. But if you ever put them back on, it's going to show the date that you actually put it on there. It ain't going to show it as a new one, right? So when they caught the young man, the active military soldier, the one that's the head responsible, he thought he was slick. He didn't realize that I was still following him with my own page. And he popped that bubble back on. And on that bubble, it showed his 9mm gun and a Glock and some other gun that he had, right? And it was listed that he posted on in the month of March. All I said to the DA was, why don't y'all ask Carlos, where is his gun? I said, why don't y'all ask him, where is his gun? If you're trying to tell me that it's no weapon to be found, ask him where his gun at. I had a call. They messaged me first. I asked the gentleman on another social media platform, I see that you've been videoing this crew. I need you to tell me if you was here this particular night. He said to me, I wasn't there, but I know somebody who was. And that gentleman I spoke to said to me that these people, 3, Carlos, Nosy Cap, and Malik. And I can't wait to see who Nosy Cap is. Those 3 individuals, oh, and I'm sorry, and the girl Ariana contacted him. And when they contacted him, they was trying to find out how they can get out of what they did to my son. She was trying to figure out how she can get out of it because she drove him from the crime scene and she saw him throw the gun out. But these other 3 was trying to figure out how they can get out of it because they knew they was responsible. Now the homosexual boy, the only thing he responsible for is because he initiated the fight too. That's why I say they all need to go down. And at the end of the day, the sheriff office need to be held accountable too. Anybody that did the forensics, everybody that was responsible for the forensics and left all that stuff in my son's car, even the detective, they all need to be held accountable. The ADA Whitaker needs to be held accountable also, because he has failed from this day to look at anything related to my son's case other than what, and let me back it up. Chief of Homicide Rob Thompson need to be held accountable also. Instead of him retiring, they decided to give him a promotion. So he's over all, when I say all the murderer cases, he's over all of them. This man told me to my face how they was going to let this young man walk the first time. They was going to let him walk as if he didn't have, they was already looking for this young man because he had exposed a young lady, come to find out it was his girlfriend. He exposed her on social media, naked pictures, right? So I said to them, if y'all would have did y'all job the first time with getting this young man, maybe my son would be alive. That's how I feel. If they would have locked him up the first time, you know what I was told about that case? They never served him the warrant. They never served it. So when he wanted that first bail bond hearing, somebody came and spoke up, and that's how he had to stay in jail the first time.
Well, they're not going to, when it comes down to warrants, they're not going to keep coming to your house on the warrant unless it's a capital punishment crime. They're not going to keep coming. They're going to enter you in NCIC.
It was never served.
I understand. Listen to me. What they would do is put you in NCIC. Once they put you in NCIC, you want it wherever you're found at. So in other words, if he went through a license check, and they ran it, boom, wherever he's at. If he's in Charlotte, if he's in Raleigh, it don't matter where he's at, he's going to be held. And that's the way that works. They're not going to keep coming to your house to serve a warrant unless it's for something like child molestation, a rape, or a capital punishment crime.
Well, that what you just spoke, they only did that when they was looking for him for my son. They didn't do it for the young lady. They did it for my son. How they end up doing that, because all his homeboys and all his friends that they called in first told on him. So why are you sitting being so brave in jail and not telling on everybody else? They didn't have no problem with telling on you. And that's all I asked his family to do. Tell your son to talk. Tell him to talk. Because if he would talk, then I would have some mercy on him. I would love to have mercy on him if he would talk and tell on everybody else. But why take everything for yourself when you know you're not the only one responsible? I talked to the young man's brother. His brother even said that the streets was talking, and the streets said that his brother wasn't the only one involved. He said, I told my brother to turn himself in, but tell on everybody else. He said his brother said he wasn't going to turn himself in until he got a lawyer. So thank God for the tipper, the person that tipped. He didn't have a chance to get a lawyer. So now they hired a lawyer that you have to pay. The state hired this lawyer to be his lawyer that you normally pay him to be your lawyer. The state hired him, and he don't understand why either.
Well, I want to say this right here. Don't be talking to the defense attorney and sharing too much information with him, because number one, he's not for you either. He's for him.
I've heard that. But you know why I shared what I shared with him? Because after the ADA told me that they weren't going to use none of this, what else did I got to lose? What else do I have to lose when you got the detective telling me that they're not going to use nothing in my son's phone that proves what happened to my son, and the ADA tells me what else I had to lose? God had it right there. When I came from court that day, his lawyer was right there. So why not? And he was nice and calm. I don't care if he tried to use this. He said to me, he told me, why won't they use this? You got all this information and you telling me they're not going to use this?
It's poorly investigated. We know that. We know it's poorly investigated. And I don't have no sympathy for the officer, the way he or she or them investigate the case, because it's not done right. A DA shouldn't want to go to second degree. He should want first degree because that's what the officer charged with.
Mhm.
He should want that. Now, where I was a law enforcement officer at, if you capture someone and there you got them in holding, there's going to be a discussion between the charging officer and the ADA or the chief district attorney. You're going to talk because within 14 days, our ruling, within 14 days of that charging, there's going to be a felony report done. And once that felony report is done, then comes what you call a true bill, because he was served with a warrant. Now they're going to do an indictment. They go to true bill. They go. People going to sit there and listen to the evidence. Boom. They send a true bill. But in this case right here, I just never seen nothing like this. I never seen something so raggedy and so messy. I've never seen anything that messy. If you, not being a law enforcement officer, run this stuff down the way you did, that tells me just how sloppy the officers are. Because he's supposed to be better than you.
The detective supervisor even said, when I brought the information to him, he was like, after this is over with, we need to sit down and have a conversation, me and your daughter. He said, because we knew everything they knew, but we knew more than they knew at that moment. He said that to me. You think I sit down and talk to folks? No.
Did you ask the ADA? Did you ask the ADA why he was shooting for second degree?
He pulled out some book and said this is what it says here in the book, but he lied and said that the young man had some type of remorse. Then when I said to him, I can care less if he had remorse, he come back and said, I didn't say that. And I got him recorded. Because I can't trust nothing these people say.
Yeah, I see that. So March the 6th, correct? That's when the next court date, March the 6th.
March the 4th.
March the 4th. And
that's what?
Thursday.
Days. Today's the 1st. Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, the ADA, I just can't get past him. When we was at the bond hearing, he stood there in front of the judge and lied to the judge in my face and everybody. The part where he said this young man only ran 1 month, and doggone, I'm sitting there knowing that he ran 3 months. And he tells the judge that just to try to help this young man get $150,000 bond and get out of jail that day.
Well, that's not the original ADA that was on the case, correct?
The one that started the case was Robert Thompson, the chief of homicide. And I told him, please don't start my son's case when you telling me to my face that you getting ready to retire. He said, well, what it's going to be, I'm going to work it and then I'm going to hand it over. And I told him that wouldn't be fair to the person that he handed over to. But then by the time it was handed over, and another thing, it took the DA's office a while to get the information from the detective. Once they caught the young man, it was months before they even got what she was supposed to turn into the ADA, into the DA's office.
Well, see, evidently they don't have the time limit that we had. Our protocol was 14 days after being charged. Sometimes you have to go in and ask for more time because the investigation is not complete.
But the
You got
DA's
people you're
office
trying to
knew
get up
nothing
with and stuff of that
about
nature.
it.
But
The DA's office knew nothing about it.
my question is to you. I noticed you saying the sheriff's department. Put them all on the side. I'm talking about the assistant district attorney is the one that on the case now. Is he always been the one, or was there another? Not the sheriff's department, because the sheriff's department wouldn't be trying the case.
Well,
I'm talking about an ADA.
he's the one that's trying it. Adam Whitaker. He's the only
He's
one that I
always
know
been the
that's
one.
trying it.
Okay. So when he walked in that courtroom that day on that bond hearing, which means that he didn't have time to study the case, he went in there because he's supposed to know as much as you knew when he went in that courtroom, and he didn't. And the
Right.
judge pretty much listened to you and not the ADA.
Right.
And that's the reason why he didn't get the reducement of bond.
And then what you just said, the defendant lawyer stood there and said, well, Adam Whitaker knows the case more than anybody else knows it. He
Wow.
said that at the courtroom. And then when I had to come with the victim impact and let him know he don't know what he's talking about, he had to eat them words. He had to eat them. So when I tell you this is so jacked up, it's jacked up. Everything that has taken place from, like I said, it started at the Amex building. It started there. Now I'm victimized because I stood up about what was left in my son's car. Then I've been treated like I murdered my own son. That's the way they treat me.
Well, I can't say you got a fair treatment on it at all, period. I was just hoping that those petitions that you filled out got some attention. And I do think that the chief district attorney and the ADA deserves to hold a meeting with you.
Well, I got over 500 people have signed the petition since I did the petition. And then I have put the petition in the hands of Mitch Colvin. I put it in the hands of Sheriff Morgan. I put it in the hands of the ADA and Billy West. I put it in their hands. And I got signatures to prove that they got it. I put it in the hands of all the commissioners. I had sent it for one, but I was assisted where they gave them to all of them. The governor, all these people have it. I sent a copy to the NCDOJ. These people have it. Have anybody said anything to me? Have anybody tried to reach out to me? No. Nobody has reached out to me. And that's what I don't understand. Why is it that y'all not seeing what I'm trying to tell y'all? I got proof. I got everything. But nobody wants to listen. But I just, like I said, at the end of the day, I can't let them do this.
After he was charged, and I'm quite sure questioned by the detective that that filed the papers. Was there anything saying that he admitted to the crime?
The ADA stated at the courthouse, and when we was at court at the bail bonds hearing, that he admitted to that what he done. Then in my face, when I brought it back up to him, he says, I don't remember how that was. I think we saw it where he said something on a social media platform, but then again, I can't remember. He's such a compulsive liar. He say one thing and he come back with something else. And that's what I just can't understand. Are you playing mind games with me or something? And you know what? Rob Thompson said to me when they tried to do the first bond hearing with this young man, the chief of homicide, he told me, he said at the end of the day, he told me before this is all over with, he told me I was going to need to talk to a counselor. He said, because I done seen this too many times, people go crazy. He already spoke that I was going to go crazy. This is what that man said to me. Then when I told him, let me get up, I said, I got up that day when he was trying to tell me this boy didn't have nothing against him. He said, I've checked all the databases. He has nothing. He's going to walk that day. And I said to him, I said, You trying to tell me, I know what I seen in the newspaper. Have you taken time to see? So he told me, I done checked all the databases. He gonna get a bond, his first hearing, right? So then he gonna tell me, when I said, let me get up, I got up. I said, let me get up out of here before I say something that I'm gonna have to repent about, is what I said to him. He said, hey. When I'm leaving out, he said, hey. And I looked back and I said, yeah. He said, don't come here unannounced. So he was trying to tell me that I couldn't come there either. Right after Sheriff Enos Wright told me that I was banned from the sheriff office. So he was telling me not to come there. But you know, I go there anytime I want to at the DA's office because I ain't afraid to get locked up there. But you go to the sheriff's office,
I've never heard anyone.
That I did something and get me locked up.
I've never heard anybody being banned from a public building.
That's what I was told. But you know what? When I called recently before I spoke to Sheriff Morgan, the what you call it? The what is her title? God knows. The watch commander. I spoke to the watch commander. She was so rude. I told her, I said, ma'am, I need to come to the sheriff office. I got to handle some business, but I have been banned. But now that the sheriff is not there anymore, I need to know if I'm still banned. And she was like, who is this? I told her who I was. And I said, well, let me make sure I correct this. I was told that I was banned without an appointment. She said, well, if he said you was banned, then you're still banned. I said, no. They said without an appointment. So I'm trying to schedule an appointment so I can come. This lady refused me to come. She said, I need to talk to somebody else before I allow you to come. And I told her, I said, ma'am, you're not listening to what I said. They said without an appointment. So I'm asking for an appointment to come there so I can speak to the new sheriff and whatever else matter that I had, right? So she never had nobody to call me. So I went around her and I called the number to the sheriff office. And I was able to talk to the Sheriff Morgan's assistant. And she the one that gave me the appointment to come and talk to Sheriff Morgan. Then he tells me that day that I'm no longer banned.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes, sir.
Is it anything that you may have left out before we get out of here?
I think we pretty much had covered it. I'm really stuck on not just the elements, but I'm stuck on the definitions of what you gotta have to actually have it. I know the elements are not vague. They are there. And if you stick straight to the elements, then you're not going to have first degree. But if you look at the content in the case, then that predation is going to take place. It's going to take place because it's there. It's in 1417. It's there. It's in the North Carolina murder rule. It's there. You do not have to have premeditation to have first degree. You have to show a deliberate indifference and an intent to create harm. So once you do that, then everything comes into one hole. And I just feel like, they're trying to sweep the case upon the rug. It's just another black man, another black on black crime, and just sweep it away. And like I said, it's two justice systems. I haven't seen it for 35 years, man. I haven't seen it. A lot of times I could say something, and a lot of times I couldn't say anything, because once it gets into the prosecutor's hands, they do what they want. That's why the sheriff told her he couldn't give her no guarantees. So the only thing I can suggest, and I don't understand why, that the chief district attorney and the ADA don't want to have a meeting with you. I don't understand that. Because usually those offices are open. You can't just walk up in there. You might have to set an appointment. But generally, a grieving mother, they're willing to sit down and talk. I don't, and maybe they could, I don't know. I just feel like something about this case just ain't right. Well, it's a whole lot about it ain't right. But that reducement of that from first degree to second degree, that is truly out the roof. I totally disagree.
Mom Dukes, anything that you may have left out before we get out of here?
He was saying something that came to my mind. It just slipped me for a minute. Let me see if it's gonna come back because he said something and it triggered something else. I tell you, everything he just keep triggering. It was something else that came to my mind. Lord have mercy. Maybe it ain't meant for me to say, but it's so much to be said. It's so much to be said. But you know, like I said, people may look at it as in all this information she telling. But like I said, they don't want me to tell it. The ADA told me when I told him before all these pleas came about, when I told him about this and took my book, he told me he didn't want to see none of this. He told me even when I emailed it to them, he said, we looked at it, but we're not using none of that. That's what he told me. We're not using none of that. He said, because that's going to dampen our case even more. But what I don't get was, how do you blindside your assistants and blindside me when you told us we were getting ready to go to trial? Then next thing you know, a couple of days after, you calling me, telling me that we got a plea deal. And then your assistant didn't even find out until the same day too, that we got a plea deal. Then this new plea deal, he didn't call me this time. His assistant didn't even know about this one. She said she just found out that day that we got the plea deal that day, coming March the 4th. What was you finna say?
What was the mix-up in the court that day? He said it was a mix-up. What was that?
They claim that, okay, so the defendant's lawyer was not there. His assistant was there, but the lawyer walked because he was in some other trials, right? So I saw the assistant assist another case, you know, so I was thinking, okay, he was going to assist this one. So what happened was the chief of homicide, I ain't never seen him inside of none of the cases that I've been in until this one. He was there. And I'm thinking, what is he doing here? So he come in, they go to the judge, him and the ADA, Adam Whitaker, go up there to the judge. And I was trying to read the lips. I tell them to be quiet and read their lips. And I see them say something about, you know, that the judge said that they have to come to an agreement and they had to let the young man know or whatever, right? So I'm watching the young man tell his mama. He just kept showing this to his mama. So in other words, they weren't aware that it was 12 years. So the assistant told me to step out. And when I stepped out, the chief of homicide came out, and she was already trying to explain to me, the assistant was trying to explain to me that they was getting ready to schedule another day. And so the chief of homicide came out, and he said, Miss Gilchrist, first he asked me, did I know him? Of course I know you. But anyway, he told me, he said, there has been some type of discrepancy. I can't say it that well, but he was like, he started explaining it, but then Adam Whitaker came walking by. Now, mind you, he was getting ready to walk past us. So chief of homicide said, hey, I need you to come over here and explain to Miss Gilchrist, what you call me, what has taken place. So the mom and the dad of the boy started coming out, and I told them, you know, let's not discuss this in the hallway, but they did anyway. But they left, the family members. But anyway, from what he said was that apparently the information didn't get to the lawyer. It was given to the assistant. And the information where he agreed for 12, he's saying that the lawyer agreed lesser. So that's where the discrepancy came in, where his lawyer was asking for lesser years when the ADA was asking for 12 years. So he was like, because they couldn't come to an agreement, they had to cancel it that day, and that they will have to, if they don't come to an agreement, then we will go to trial. So now, as I stated, he's been begging. Adam Whitaker has been begging to do this plea deal. Begging, please get your guy to do the plea deal. And that's where it sucks at. Why are you begging to do a plea deal when you just need to do your job?
Sir, do you have any contacts? Someone that could get more attention than we're getting?
I do, and I'll share with both of y'all. behind the scenes.
Hmm.
I definitely do.
Okay.
So I think it's time for a press conference. I think
Definitely.
it's time. I think it's time for a press conference. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you all for coming on. I'll be back in North Carolina tomorrow, and I'll get on the phone first thing in the morning, and then
Okay.
hopefully um, we can get a press conference going on down there.
Okay.
Thank you, because we
Sounds
sure
good.
been needed it.
Yeah,
It's a long
It sounds
time
good.
coming. We been needed it.
yeah,
This will actually be my first case outside of someone that's, that's not already in prison,
right,
and the
right,
people that I generally work with are people that are in prison.
right.
And this hers will be the first one working with on the outside.
Right.
Um, I seen that she needs some help, and I was trying to help her,
Yeah.
but I think I created a monster. Okay,
You
I
say you
really
think you
appreciate you
created a
having.
mo-
I
you
think I
think you
created a
created a
monster.
monster. Yeah.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what now. She had a bad, she'd be a bad person, boy. I tell you,
Yes.
she did some good
Yes.
work now.
I
She
got
did some
the
good work.
badge. I got
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
badge.
Yeah.
Okay,
God, that's the
okay,
badge.
That's right.
okay.
Well, I
All right.
appreciate y'all coming on and sharing what y'all shared with me. Mom Dukes, I'll give you a call probably like around 11 or 12 o'clock tomorrow morning. What's your availability?
I should be. I,
You
dang, I ain't
just
bring.
call. Look,
I should be.
You just call me.
Okay, I just realized I ain't bring my calendar in the house. But I do got a something in the morning. But I'll let you know. I should be finished by then.
Okay. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Vince. Thank
All
y'all,
right.
and everyone
All
Okay.
that
right.
tuned in. Y'all have a blessed night.
All right. You too now.
Welcome everybody to this demonstration. What does Shank Rock Films mean to the community? Well, Shank Rock Films is a place for people like you and I with a story to tell, with a story that needs to be exposed. Shank Rock Films is a place for that story to be told on. Unfortunately, platforms aren't able to get to everybody's story. And that's okay. That's fine. We want to thank those platforms that do bring us stories. We want to thank them for the stories that they do bring. Once again, my platform is all about the people with these stories that can't make it to these larger platforms. So, thanks to everybody that has been supporting me. I do have a lot of back stories that I need to get pushed out into the algorithm to make these stories go viral. I really need for you to share the stories. Now, people say, well, Shank, what is sharing going to do? Sharing is going to help push that story into the algorithm. I've been able to be on the team of some stories that have made it viral. How did they go viral? The shares. The shares, the shares, the shares. So I see a lot of people that visit my page. I see a lot of people that's in my stories. I see a lot of people that's in my friend suggestions, which lets me know that the people is watching Shank Rock Films. So now what I need the people to do, I need the people to share these stories. What stories, Shank Rock? Any stories that you see me put in the title, please share this story to help make go viral. Those are the stories that I need for you to help me make go viral. In LA right now, I have a story out here in LA that me and John Barnett is covering. And this story, and you'll hear about this story later on at the press conference. But this story is one of those stories that you be like, wow, they did him like that. I'll give y'all just a little peep on what this story is about. It's about a young man that has been incarcerated for 6 years, going on 7 years. His co-defendants have been to trial. His co-defendants beat the case. But this young man, after 6 years, going on 7 years, is still being detained with no bond. Make sure y'all stay tuned for Shank Rock Films press conference, Los Angeles, California. Salute everybody, and I appreciate all of the support that I have been getting. Salute everybody.